like live, but it's just a recording.
And then you're going to upload it later?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Hi, welcome to Inside Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm Devon Jones, a military veteran turned filmmaker. I found my spark in the military, and now I'm here to help you find yours. Inside Plug is your community and inspirations, a platform for your voice, stories to be shared, and ideas to flourish. Let's dive in and plug into creativity and entrepreneurship together. Today, we have Gary Nguyen. Welcome to the show, Gary. So I met Gary last year at the San Diego Kids International Film Festival. I was on the writers panel, and Gary was on the actors panel, and I was really interested in his story, and that's why I brought him on the podcast today. Gary, welcome to the show.
Hey, Devin, happy to be here. Hi, everyone.
Hi, so last time we spoke, you were working on a few projects, and recently you've worked on a TV show. So can you take us back from the beginning with acting? How did you get started, and what was your inspiration?
So I started acting on and off since 2013, but growing up before that, I always wanted to be an actor, but I didn't have any resources at the time. Also, my family orientation, they all wanted everyone to become doctors, lawyers, engineer. So when I told them that, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I wanted to become an actor, they kind of just laugh it off and say, hey, Gary, that's not a stable job. Are you sure you want to become an actor? You might not be able to make it, but I said that's my passion. So growing up, I was kind of steered toward others' careers just so my family didn't have to worry about me. So, but then I tried out for a little bit, all different jobs on the medical field. So I was like, hey, let's do nursing, let's do some X-ray technologies. So I went to school for that. And then still, I didn't want to get stuck at a job from 9 to 5, not doing anything out of that. It's just like a loop for me, 365 days a year doing the same thing. I do love helping people in a hospital, but it just not what I wanted to become. So then COVID happened. I get to dig deeper a little bit on those resources, more casting. Like I said, 2013, I was on and off. When I moved here, I started in Atlanta, and I work at fast food place, and some of the employees, they start talking about, hey, I just got my new headshots. I'm going to this model agencies and all that stuff. So I said, what is that? They said, oh, yeah, I'm going to this audition. But at the time I was still in college, so I didn't pay attention much. But then later I found out, I said, oh, so this is how it's going to be. So 2013, they had a scenes at SeaWorld for Anchorman 2, and it was all over the news, the local news. It was like, hey, they were audition people at the Hilton Hotel for the scenes with Will Ferrell. And so I tried it out, but then they capped the line. So I ended up just email them and say, hey, this is my profiles and all that stuff. So I said, yeah, we still have a spot, but it's just like a background work thing. So you don't have any lines, you don't get a speaking role at the time. But I gained some experience for a big set, of course. So I really liked it. Then going back to COVID when everything shut down, so then I could just drop everything from my regular jobs and start doing more research. So I get back and say, hey, I can see all those groups of actors, they posting auditions. But because of COVID, you don't have to drive to LA, go into the audition room and see all the casting people. You can just submit your self-tape and then upload it or send it to them, and they'll look at it, and if they liked it, then yeah, you get it. Um, and then when they kind of reopen everything a little bit, I signed up for all the, well, system network stuff that I put my profile in. So they start giving me calls. They're like, hey, we're shooting this. You want to go to this one because we would like to book you. You fit this and that. And again, those are small roles, but I gain experience that way. Um, and so I did it in a period of 2 years, like constantly driving to LA because I don't know what happened at that time, 2021, 2022. I guess it has to do with a movement. It's called the Asian American movement because we always feel like we were overlooked, um, and we were excluded from most of the entertainment stuff. So you don't see a lot of Asians actors on the screen, or if we did, then we kind of in one pool. We're either martial artists or we're playing a villains of some kind, so delivery person. So and we want to extend that. We want to play different roles. So at the time when COVID happened, I guess that's when the movement started. And so I got more opportunities all of a sudden because people are like grinding for years. Um, I can look back at some of the Asian American actors that I looked up as a role models. Like if you watch 21 Jump Street, Dustin Nguyen. Yeah, that's his first big role back in the day in the 90s with Johnny Depp and all those people. And then I look up others people, but then there's not many of them. But then all of a sudden with this movement, you get more chance, more Asians, writers, editors. So you get more Asian crew instead of just white people. And so I worked for 2 years, constantly driving to LA. I was like, this is getting exhausted, but it was fun, right? And so I was looking on some other stuff, like what is the union, what is the non-union? I still figuring it out. They said, well, when you're in a union, you get protected. You get better chance to audition for bigger roles. But if you're non-union, then you're just doing independent projects and all that stuff. So before that, I didn't know. Now, when that happened, I was like, how do I become a union member? And so I started working on some of the other projects when they said, hey, we're going to upgrade you today for yellow vouchers. And I was like, what's yellow vouchers? So they said, well, if you accumulate the 3 yellow vouchers, which is a union vouchers, you can apply to become SAG-AFTRA. So I was like, okay, so I was aiming for that for about 6 months until I get to that Netflix project called Brother Sons, and it was a small call. I worked maybe 10 days on that, but it's a small call, so not a lot of people for all 10 days. It's just a small group of stunt people and the principals. So that's why I get all 10 days with yellow vouchers, and I qualified for SAG, and they reached out to me. They said, I think you should apply. I mean, the initial fees, it's not that cheap, but I was able to manage to pay that due to get that membership so I can have better opportunities. So I started from there.
All right. All right, so let's bring it back a little bit. So Anchorman, you got your first experience. You drove back and forth up to LA for a couple auditions, and then now you have your SAG card. So with the SAG, how long did it take you to register? How long did it take you to get your card? And would you say that representation that you now have, was it worth it?
When they say the grass is not greener on the other side, I could see some of that. I mean, there's, how do you say it, sacrifices that you need to make, and then you won't know until you get to the other side and you find out. So when you become SAG, then yeah, you get paid more, but then you have to compete with some of the veterans actors, some of the A-lister for the same role. So it's get more competitive, but it's going to be really good when you landed that role. On the other side, if you stay non-union, you're just getting paid peanuts and you don't get protection. So let's say you get into an accident on set, no one is protecting you if you're not in the union. So right now I'm in that spot when I would just keep trying for auditions, taking acting classes, get an agent. I mean, a legit agent. Don't ever sign with anyone that say, "Hey, you have to pay up front." And then work with that agent. Ask them to send you to more auditions so you can get that chance.
All right. So take your time when you're looking for an agent, representation. Don't rush into it.
And yeah, do a lot of more training if you could. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you said you have to compete for roles, so with your representation, have you experienced any obstacles that came in your way that you had to overcome when it comes down to getting a specific role or maybe even competing for a role?
I would say there's a lot factors that contribute into that. It could be networking, nepotism. So they could say, "Hey, I know this guy because we work on a different project. So I want you to take a look at this guy." So that's networking if you know someone. But nepotism, then say, "Hey, you know, he doesn't need to audition. We're just gonna give him that role." So again, those are some of the factors. But right now, when I work on some of the previous project that I knew, it's a large pool. I thought like, hey, maybe when I look and watch some of the TV series that have Asian American actors, I said, oh, so there's not a lot of them. But when I go onto the auditions, there's 100,000 of people that look like me. So it's still a challenge that you have to be stand out. You have to be well trained. You have to be well represented. And you have to have experience. A lot of factors.
Mm-hmm. So far with where you're at in your journey, what would you say is the accomplishment that you're most proud of right now?
Accomplishment. I mean, getting a SAC card that fast probably one of my biggest accomplishments, and then working on some set that I don't feel like I was mistreated. I heard so many stories in the past of veterans, Asian American actors that work on set and they were mistreated. I didn't have to experience that, so I feel really lucky that my time get cut short for becoming a SAC member. Even though some people would say, "Hey, why don't you become more established before you join?" But everyone's different. For my case, I thought joining there's no saying that say you joining too soon or you joining too late. But you just have to have it right there. It's like a car and a driver license, right? If they know your skill, they would like, "Hey, do you know how to drive a car?" I say, "Yes, I do know how to drive a car, but do you have a driver license?" It is like, "Hey, do you have a SAC car?" Right? Then we'll pay you more. But if you're not a SAC car, maybe they'll give you a SAC scale for a day, but then the next day they would say you need to join before we start paying you more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So do you have like a dream role, like a character that you would like to play, like a what would you say your dream role is?
Well, dream roles. That's kind of vast questions, because you don't want to limit yourself in any type of roles. You want to expand that. You want to be versatile. So you can play different characters. You can play a comedic actors, or you can play more serious, dramatic, uh, method acting actors. If you watch Harold and Kumar back in the day, John Cho, he started as comedic because it's a comedy. Then I think he did American Pie or something after
He
that.
was in American Pie.
Yeah, so he did that, but then now you look at his roles. He played more serious role, more dramatic. When he plays Sulu in Star Trek, and then he was in Cowboy Bebop. So he kind of transitions. And then I watched some of his interview. He said, well, I started as comedy, but then more Koreans, American actors are doing comedy now. So I would just move to a different corner and do something else. So yeah, he wanted to get different roles. He didn't want to just get stuck or typecast.
All right, be a well-rounded actor.
Yes.
All right, like the sound of that. All right. So what projects are you currently working on, or do you have any projects that's in the works?
I was hoping they would air that Star Wars projects that I did 2 years ago during COVID. It's called Skeleton Crew. I'm just happy that I get included in that universe of Star Wars. But then I guess for some reason they put a hold to that, and they decided to release Acolyte first instead of Skeleton Crew. So I was still hoping for that. I'm not currently on any projects right now, but that's my last project that I'm excited to see when it's come out.
All right. Do you have a portfolio that's out, or like a page where people can see some of your past work and check you out?
I'm on IMDb.
Right.
Everyone has an IMDb, and you can look me up. I mean, it's not much on there, but still you can look me up for that. Gary Nguyen, IMDb.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So this question we usually ask a lot of our guests: what is a book, a TV show, or a movie that you would recommend to an aspiring filmmaker or a screenwriter or even an actor?
A book, I would say the Bryan Cranston book that I recently discovered on Audible. Don't if you want to get a hard copy, it's fine, but I recommend the Audible version, narrated by himself. And I listen to it every day. He'll tell you all the different story, how he started, how he get from playing just a dad on is it Even Steven?
I remember
Malcolm in the Middle. Malcolm in the Middle.
All right.
Yeah. So he started as a dad, and then he's kept grinding until Breaking Bad, and where he is now. So I think it's very inspirational, and that's the book that I would recommend.
All right, check that out. All right. So with filmmaking as a whole, we had the whole strike a couple years ago. We're moved along a little bit past the strike. Where do you see filmmaking in the next 5 to 10 years?
I heard a lot of productions, big productions, are moving out of LA after the strike. So I do feel concerned a little bit. But then again, I don't know if you heard, there's another strike on the horizon with the video game people. So they're still on strike, but not to say that we don't have any work. If you don't have work, then you have to start going out and look for work. There's works, but we used to have pilot season, and now that's gone because of the streaming service. So it's getting harder, but stay in there again. When you have what do you call it? I can't put in that word. What is the word for it? Can you help me out here?
When you're with
kind of believe in yourself, I would say. So you have belief in yourself, confidence. Confidence. And you stay in this game as long as you can. Things will happen. It might take 20 years. I watched some of the podcasts from actors. They said that in 4 years, they only get like one auditions. How crazy that was. They don't have a lot of opportunity. So, but stay as long as you could. Again, financially, you want to be secure. You want to become an actor, but you not looking to become famous, or you in it for the money. You in it because you're passionate about it. Then that would keep you going.
Yes. Passion and persistence.
Yes.
Keeps you going. All right. So as an actor, and say for instance you're going through scripts, you're looking for your next part. When it comes down to character or story, which one moves you more towards taking that role, or does either or matter?
You said when it's come out to characters and
character or story?
Story or characters. Story would come along, but then characters takes more time to develop. So I would say it's either or.
Either or?
Yes.
All right. Anything that you want to add to the audience before we sign off, for the aspiring actors out there or independent filmmakers? Anyone who's looking to, get into the field?
Again, don't become an actor if you're thinking that you're gonna have a big break, become famous, or in it for the money. You just consider yourself a working actor and continue to honing your craft, your training, your life experience, and stay in the game. Be persistent.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Inside Plug. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found it inspiring. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and every creator has a story worth sharing. If you love what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on www.insightplug.com. That's insightplug2gs.com. Your feedback helps us bring you more content. Until next time, keep creating. Devon Jones signing off. Stay inspired.
Oh, I forgot to talk about a game show. But that's, I could tell you, not during a podcast, because